The European Commission stated last week that France will miss its budget deficit targets this year, next year and 2017. But looking at the short term, is there much that the government can do to increase growth? Well, Ludovic Martin, economist at Credit Agricole, explains.
Yes, so first of all, to answer your question, I think we need to remember that the current economic environment is pretty positive for France, for the French economy and developed economies more broadly, because we have external factors that are positive for our growth. We have a lower euro, we have a lower oil price, and we have low rates. And all these factors are sustaining our growth. And I mean, it's not what the government can do, but we could see good surprises on these factors in the future. So we can consider these as upside risks that could increase growth. Now, looking at what the government has done in the past years, several measures have been implemented that have a positive impact on growth, mainly lowering costs on corporates. We've had the CICE, which is the Competitiveness Employment Tax Credit, and we've had also the Responsibility Pact. All these measures taken together meant a 40 billion reduction in taxes for corporates, and this is positive for growth. Now, what can the government do in the future? What can we expect? So there are several reforms that are currently in the pipeline, if I may say, in France. We have a new Macron law. Macron is our Minister of Economy. It's a new law that is in preparation called Nouvelles Opportunités Économiques, which you can translate by new economic opportunities. And the purpose of this law will be to adapt the French economy to the digital economy.
Starting from January 2016, new measures to boost France's depressed housing market will take effect. Could you explain these new measures and what it means for the economy over the longer term?
So first of all, I'd like to say that, in my opinion, I think it's a bit strong, to say that the French housing market is depressed. In fact, in 2015, we've seen we have a climate which is good for housing market transaction, and we have seen them rising because of several measures that have been implemented. We've had the prêt à taux zéro, which is a zero rate loan. And we've also had the Pinel law. Pinel is the name of our Minister of Housing, and this Pinel law replaces the former Duflot law, which was the previous Minister of Housing. And this is working. This has a positive impact on the housing transaction. The Pinel law, the purpose of this law is to create an incentive for households to invest in real estate, and we've seen this as a positive impact. So, what is new? What have we learned recently? What happened is that the zero rate loan, as I said, has been extended by the Minister of Household, Mrs. Pinel. So what happens now is that, and this will be effective in the 1st January of 2016, we now have more households that are eligible to this zero rate loan. We also have a larger amount of the loan that is now eligible, and we also have households that are benefit from this loan also have a longer time to pay back. So overall, this should have a positive impact in order to help first-time home buyers, and also to increase the incentive for people to invest in stone.
On Friday, we have 7 euro area economies releasing GDP data for the 3rd quarter, including France and the entire euro region. What are you expecting to see overall?
In France, we've had a Q2 which was a disappointment. We had 0% growth Q&Q. And what we've seen, the recent developments during the 3rd quarter, is that we've seen some positive signs telling us that the recovery is still ongoing. The business climate of the INSEE has been increasing and is now above its long-term average. The PMI surveys, which also had been declining in the 2nd quarter, have been rising. So this shows us that the business climate is still improving. And now looking at hard data, we've had industrial production this morning. We know that over the third quarter, it increased by 0.4% Q-on-Q, which is positive sign for growth overall. We also know that household consumption of goods is up by 0.7%, which is also an upside risk for our GDP forecast. And we also have the external demand contribution that should be more modest than it was in the previous quarter, where it had been very strong. So overall, what I expect on the French Q3 GDP is a 0.3 growth rate, Q-on-Q. We can have some upside surprise on consumption. I think the contribution of external demand will be more modest compared to Q2, where it had been quite strong. Overall, on the euro area, we have a 0.4 Q-on-Q forecast.
Ludovic, thank you very, very much for sharing your insight with us. Well, that is all for now. Do click back for more news and analysis throughout the day. Goodbye.